Takes a while to start. And we're live. Welcome to the Lakers Pulse post-game podcast thing that we're trying out. Today we have Clayton Fawcett, 19 Yanks 23. Nelson Espinal at Lakers Nation B. I mean, not famous Nelson. I'll make sure to follow him over on there.
Oh, man.
All right, so let's get started with the positive. Who's your best player tonight?
It was clearly Lou Williams. No, I'm just playing. Best player. Can I just go with my happiest? And it was happy to see Anthony Brown play good.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if he was necessarily the best. I'd probably go Clarkson. Maybe.
Okay.
Me. But what do you think, Nelson?
I think I know that he didn't play the perfect game, but I just like the way that he controlled himself and played D'Angelo Russell. He had a couple turnovers here and there, and those happen. You're the point guard. You're gonna make some mistakes, and it's the first preseason game back, so those are gonna happen. But he was really on point with his, especially with his driving kick passes, and he was making all the right passes, except for a couple risky ones that he took, and they just gambled the wrong way. But he had the right ideas on those still, and he didn't really shoot that much, which was interesting to see because he usually attempts to score in the beginning of the game, and then he starts to defer as the game wears on, and as he realizes that, all right, I got to get my teammates in the same spots if I want to win the game. So it was kind of odd to see him not really score that much, but he had a couple floaters that he got into the lane, and he would have made one. He missed one of them, and he would have made that regularly, but. No, I thought he played really well for the point guard. And he controlled the show, so that's all you can really ask for him.
I agree. I'm going to go with Clarkson also. He showed a ton defensively today for me. He clearly improved a lot from that end in just one summer. Just 4 or 5 deflections that I can remember off the top of my head right now. I'm sure there's more that I'm missing. See if it gave him any outright steals. Only one outright steal, but a ton of deflections, harassing the ball without getting burnt like he got a lot last season. He was good at readjusting and making a second effort. So he's definitely my best player tonight.
Yeah. How Nelson said that he chose D'Angelo, I think we also should take into account that they were getting really good looks in the first half and even some early in the second with D'Lo, but the problem was just no one was hitting anything.
Nothing
so
in the first half.
If they're getting the looks, I'm fine with it. The shots will eventually start falling. It's first game, no biggie.
Right. All right, we'll keep it positive. Well, could be neutral. What are your 2 big takeaways from tonight? We'll start with Nelson.
My first takeaway is that we're not as good as everyone thought that we were going to be. That's not to say that we're not going to be not going to improve, because obviously we're an improved team. I thought our defense was really stepped up. I thought that Mozgov played pretty well, better than I expected. I'm not sure exactly how this whole team is going to work. I think it's going to take a longer time than I even thought to adjust to the whole new system and stuff. Brandon Ingram, he's not going to be able to contribute as much as we all hope for, just because of the jitters. Like we said in the chat, the first 20 games he's going to be a little bit, on and off. But then as season progresses, the team will start to pick it up, and that's when we really see it. But my second takeaway is that training camp means a little more than I thought it did, because I saw a lot of the similar sets that they were running in practice, and I saw them work, and that's something they saw with Byron. You saw some basic sets, but they would just completely all hell would break loose, and it would just be like Lou Will trying to draw a foul, which he did a lot, but this time it was much more controlled, and it seemed like Luke had a real strong grip on the offense, even though they hadn't really worked on it.
Clayton, 2 biggest takeaways tonight?
I already mentioned AB, so I'll just go with how Nelson said Mozgov was better than he expected. I've been on record as saying that I wasn't a huge fan of mainly the contract But if he plays like he did tonight, and I'm going to be cautious about it because it is just the first game, but he played well against Boogie, who's quite possibly the best big man in the NBA right now. If he plays that well, just even this season, that's huge for everyone, the young guys, and especially like Zubac. So the other takeaway is it's so weird. We're going to be a bad team, but we've got surprising depth.
Right.
Everyone always jokes that we've got like 50, fours and fives, and we've got, 25 ones with everyone that can play the one. But it's just, we didn't get to see quite a few. We didn't see Nick, who in all the camp videos, I think missed one shot. He was just on fire in camp. It's just, I was surprised by how much depth, even the very end, those last 6 or 7 minutes with just the end of the bench, they looked. Most of the guys aren't going to make it, but that's just like, man, it's
going to be hard to pick that 14th and 15th slot.
I agree.
For my first one, I was talking to our group chat about a lot, was Mozgov. He even exceeded my expectations, and I'm probably the high man on Mozgov here. There was a stretch where he completely controlled the game on both sides for like a 4-minute stretch. I think it was in the second quarter.
Yeah.
And looked like 2 years ago Mozgov, which if the Lakers get that for 2 years, that makes the contract mostly worth it, in my opinion. Because by 2 years, you would hope if Zubac is going to be anything, that he will start to be that by then. And Mozgov can take a lesser role and stay effective. My second one is kind of a two-parter. I'm going to say from this game, obviously it's one game, but Calderon and Black should be the two backups based off today, especially Black. I'm definitely the high man on Yee. He needs to go. He was horrible tonight, and Black was amazing. And somebody said on Twitter, it might have been Jacob or Drew, that Calderon doesn't make passes that look as fancy as Huertas, but he always makes the right pass, and Huertas can become a little bit predictable and easy to guard once the defense clamps up. Calderon did a much better job leading the team. He was the point guard when they made their 23-1 run or whatever they had there.
Yeah, and I would argue that just because I know Huertas is an older guy, but last year was rookie year, and Calderon being the older guy, he has a lot more experience that he brings to the table. And I just feel like Calderon would. I trust Calderon more with the ball than Huertas, just because you're right. He's just predictable. Like, he's gonna pass, shoot it like once every blue moon. But Calderon can really put up buckets if he wants to. But he's much more of a passer.
Yep.
I would also say he's not gonna make the roster.
No, I don't think he should based off today.
If he plays the rest of the preseason like that, there's no way he can make the roster. His shooting motion took forever to develop on that three. I swear. For the Calderon thing, I totally agree. I think everyone confuses playmaking with fancy passing.
Yep.
And how you said, I think we've talked about it in the chat, and a lot of people have mentioned that the tweet you mentioned, whether it be Drew or Jacob, Jose is not flashy. He's very steady, and he makes that perfect pass.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, he shot over 40% from three, I think, in his career.
I believe he's 50-40-90 club once in his career.
Is he? And I have a tweet here, or a DM from at Dimpat7. He was talking about just how insane Calderon is at free throws. And if I can, in 2009, he made 151 out of 154. That's 98%. I'm going to take that every single time. Give me that as my backup.
Yep, absolutely.
I know we like to joke about Huertas, but if two people from that game would be cut that don't have like ownership backing. I'm trying to word that correctly. It would be, I don't think Huertas belongs and Yi does not belong. And I love the idea of Yi as a trade asset just because of that salary ballast. Man, no one's going to want to take that, even if it's just non-guaranteed out the wazoo.
Before you build up the value, which isn't worth it.
Exactly. No one, expired contracts and stuff like that aren't as valuable nowadays.
All right, so we'll move on to maybe Clayton's favorite topic here. Who is your worst two players today?
Oh, let's go.
You kind of just touched on it.
Let's go, Clayton. I'm ready for this.
It was Lou and Yi, and I don't think it was even remarkably close. Like, the two were, like, Lou was Lou. I've been saying it all summer, you know? This has been Lou since he was drafted 10 years ago. What? The perfect player? Yeah. No. He's not a ball mover, you know, just plain and simple. He can pass and he can play make some, but he goes for his shot, you know. That's just what he's been. And his defense was just atrocious. I don't know how many points did McLemore score? It was just my word.
Flalo was abusing him in the low post at the start.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, if I'm LA, I've been saying this forever, just trade Lou, but I'm looking, if AB can shoot at all this year, you trade Lou immediately. And then obviously Yi, I've mentioned. I mean, even in the scrimmages, 19-year-old Zubats was tearing him up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
To bounce back to our point on Calderon really quick, I'm not a big fan of plus-minus, but he had the highest at plus 26 tonight.
That does not surprise me.
Yep.
Yeah. As a bench guy, he is awesome. Sorry.
Yeah, he is.
Sorry.
Absolutely. Okay, Nelson, worst players tonight? Two worst players?
Okay, worst. Okay, I was going to start disappointing, but I guess worst makes more sense. I'd say for sure Lou Williams. I've never seen a guy more motivated to pad his stats than Lou Williams. He just, every single time. And he just laughed about it. The whole team would be like, you know what, whatever. He's getting fouls, drawing fouls, you know. But he really killed the flow of the team. I feel like if he wouldn't have played the game, that we would have had much more ball movement, which is better for the offense in general. And I'd like to say Yi, but it's kind of repetitive. I think I'm not sure Randall's all that good. He wasn't the worst per se, but I think just to throw out a different name, I think he kind of disappointed a bit. He had a couple good plays where he dove to the rim and he scored well, and he played decent defense. Just I was expecting, I guess, a little bit more out of his jump shot, which kind of he shot 2 jump shots, if I'm not mistaken.
He missed 3. He was 1 for 2 in the mid range and 0 for 1 from 3. Yep. So.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying though. Yeah, his hands weren't the greatest tonight.
No, yeah, he definitely dropped a few easy passes to him.
Mm-hmm.
For the sake of repeating, I won't say Yi, but I mean he was clearly the worst player tonight, and it really wasn't close. I'll say Ingram, even though we should have learned from last year to lower expectations, but I think some people still didn't lower their expectations for Ingram, but he didn't make a single shot, 2 for 4 from the line. A lot of mental lapses on defense. Just not a strong showing from him tonight, which is fine. He's 19.
Yeah, he just turned 19. He's the only person younger than him is Bender.
Yep. He's going to be fine. He was in the right spots on offense, got some open looks, just didn't hit them. He's going to have the couple-month adjustment period that Russell had from 3, where everything's going to be a little short, especially when that first wave of fatigue hits him a couple weeks into the season. So I'll go with Ingram, and Dang was kind of disappointing today for me too. Didn't really notice him much out there except for him isoing a few times and breaking badly, which hopefully is not what the offense is going to be. So I'll say the Ingram and Dang, both fairly disappointing tonight.
I have to say, I saw someone talking about Dang, and I can't remember who it is. I want to say it's, of course, Ben Rosales. One of Dang's best attributes on offense is his cutting, and it right now, which is how it is. I don't know how much that's going to be utilized properly until. I mean, right now it's the first game, so it's not a big deal. But later on, I'm hoping it'll be better. So.
Also, a couple times when I was noticing Dang, when he was guarding Rudy Gay, a couple times, he looked a step slow, which he's up there in age, so I know that he's not the fastest guy in the world, but I expected a little bit more quickness from him, and he still did recover pretty well on a couple times, but I just felt like he looked slower than I expected for.
I'd agree. He did get beat a couple times in ways that you're not used to Dang getting beat on defense.
Yeah.
I mean, should we have really not expected that from a guy who played 4 most of last year?
Right, yeah.
He's 30. He's an old.
He has got a ton of miles on him.
Like, that's why I've been saying, the faster we can get him into the Iggy role, if we're mirroring Golden State, the faster we can get him to the Iguodala role, the better, in my opinion.
I agree. All right, so we'll take the couple of Twitter questions we have, and then we'll wrap up. The first one is a fun one that we talk about a lot. But do you think Randall will be the primary power forward, or is that up for debate?
Yes.
It's unfortunately up for debate, but it shouldn't be. I haven't seen anything from Nance to say he's better than Randall, and he's still older, significantly older than Randall. I just don't see a reason to start Nance.
I agree. I mean, he's what, 2 to 3 years younger than Nance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Nance, I think, was still a junior at Wyoming at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not ready to give up on Julius, especially after a game where it's the very first game. Like, if we're going to give an excuse for everyone else, I don't understand why just jumping from Julius. He wasn't like, even Nelson. I don't think Nelson would say that he was awful.
No,
he had his issues, and he looked a lot more comfortable. Nance had, I don't know how many shots he could have taken.
Just passed them up. Yeah.
He had that 1-3 that was awesome, and I was finally ecstatic about that. But yeah, I mean, I think in the second quarter he had like 4 or 5 alone. And just like, take the shot. Like, don't wait.
Preseason. Now's the time to take them.
Yeah, show us, prove us wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Show that you can shoot way better than Julius, because
it looks to me that Nance only takes the jumper if he's straight away center.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
or
all jumpers come from.
That,
or the short corner.
Yeah, I was going to say that right along the baseline. Yeah.
All right. Our second question is: do you think Julius and Russell were trying too hard to start the game?
You go.
Okay. Okay. So I see. I think that players should try hard all the time. I don't think that they should not try, because that leads to no results. I just feel like I guess they are forcing it a bit. It's just his first game back, and you have all these expectations. Russell said that there's no expectations on the team, but I think everyone would argue the contrary. I think that we're all expecting more results, improvement from everyone, not just the coaching staff, not just the other, not just Brandon Ingram and Zubac. I think they're expecting results from Randall and Russell and Clarkson. So I think that you saw that they were adjusting, and that everything in camp becomes so easy. So Russell was dominating. They said it over and over again how good Russell looked in training camp, how good he looked in training camp, how he was leading, how he was scoring, how he was shooting, how he was passing. And then you get to the game, and it's much more of a control. It's not a control setting anymore. It's a free for all now. And now you have to implement. We do a practice, just that you're not seeing the same players that you saw all the time. So there's an adjustment to that, and I think that that you saw that with Russell and with Randall. Again, Randall didn't play awful. He just didn't meet expectations, I guess. We were expecting an improved jumper. He showed that a bit. He's not going down, so that's a good sign. But you were still expecting more, I guess. And I still want to see Randall more in the post. I want to see how he's improved there, because that was kind of one of my issues. How he lacked much when he had the ball. All I could do was pound it and then turn. And I want to see him maybe add a little bit more to that. I wanted to see more of that. And
that one's difficult, especially against Sacramento, because they've got two. I mean, they've got like legitimate twin towers down there. Yeah. Kufus could have been our starter last year. Before the Hibbert trade, I was calling. I mean, I know I wasn't quite on Lakers Twitter by then, but I was calling for a Kufus signing. He would have been really good. And then, of course, Boogie, when Boogie is engaged on defense, he's really good on D. So while I agree in the post, he definitely needs to show more. In the context of this, and how Nelson, you pointed out, he had Cauley Stein guarding him at times too, and Cauley Stein is, I know I'm obviously he's my type of center, but I mean that's 3 7-footers that are good or potentially awesome on D. So
yeah, Willie Cauley Stein is arguably elite on defense. He sits on the perimeter and he can guard anyone practically. So it's not surprised that Randall
potentially.
And Randall's always going to struggle against length. He is a bit undersized, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, Nance's stats look better." He also played against the backups and did all of his damage against not Willie Cauley Stein and DeMarcus Cousins, which you have to take into account.
He's playing with rookies, so he had the advantage on that one. Also, I'd argue that the full offense, again, it's not implemented yet. So then not the whole playbook isn't being used. The players don't really know exactly where to go on all situations. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot more random ISOs.
Yep. And at times at the beginning, it looked like the plays were a little slow to develop. Yeah. Which I think is the biggest issue why Russell and Randall's box scores don't look as good as the second unit.
Yeah. I think that once we start calling more pick and roll, that Russell put up more points.
And Sacramento's second unit, how Nelson pointed out, those guys were rookies. Like, those are really raw rookies. Yeah. Like, Scow was a potential top pick last year, and then he just was awful at Kentucky. I mean, he fell all the way to 28, I think, for a reason. Like, he has insane potential, but he was bad. And Papagiannis had no right being picked at 13. Papagiannis or Papagiannis, whatever you want to say it, had no right being picked there. Like, those are two insanely raw guys. Like, if Nance didn't play well against those guys, then you should be very worried.
Right. I agree. All right. Any other closing thoughts on the game tonight?
Nelson?
I'd just say just wait for the season. I mean, I know that we're all excited to see Lakers basketball again and see all the young players play, but I think that the first regular season game is going to really be the first real test for the Lakers. That's what the offense should be at least 50% or around there by then. And I think that all the players should be used to playing basketball by then. And there's no more jitter, no more rust. I think it's all dusted off by then, and I think that it's time to go.
Well, by January, Russell might know, what was it, less than half the offense or whatever?
No, wait, wasn't that like 20% or something like that?
20%, that's what it was.
Oh, weird.
Clayton, last thoughts?
Along the same lines as Nelson, it's the very first preseason game. You know, we have no idea how everything's going to go. Like, for all we know, these guys are just going to flip a switch and it's going to look even better, you know? So Just enjoy preseason. Be happy Lakers basketball is back, and be happy that Anthony Brown is finally shooting well.
So it's the law of averages, right? He's going to shoot like 70% from three this year to make up for last year.
Seriously, I still stand by that. If he, like, according to the numbers, if instead of 20 for 70, if he went 25 for 70, he would have shot 35% from three. So I'm not, even though apparently some people thought he had a rough camp, I'm not losing faith in that. I'm not giving up on
He's so good on defense already. You got to stick with him.
I want to see him play too if JC is going to come off the bench.
Me too.
I mean, yeah.
Also, one last thing. Shout out to Colton and Moho for Free Tariq Black. So,
Yes. Yes.
They've started a religion, Tariqism.
Tariqism.
All right. Well, the next game is
Friday at 7:30.
I will not be here, but we'll still have this post game, and somebody will be on the tweets for you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you later.
Have a good one.
Yeah.